Okay, Geeta Dhyan. Om. O Bhagavad Gita, by which Arjuna was illumined by Lord Krishna himself, and which was contained in 10 chapters within the Bhagavad by the ancient sage Vyasa. O Divine Mother, destroyer of rebirth, who showers the nectar of oneness upon us. O Bhagavad Gita, my affectionate mother, on thee I meditate. All the Upanishads are the cows. The milker is the cowherd boy, Krishna. Arjuna is the calf. People of purified intellect are the drinkers. And the milk is the supreme nectar of the Gita. My salutations to the Lord, who is the source of supreme bliss, whose grace makes the mute eloquent and the crippled cross mountains. Yeah. So yesterday we discussed the compassion of the Lord, by mere compassion. The shloka again. Because I am compassionate, I dwell in your heart, and from there remove the darkness of ignorance with the great light of wisdom. So, by this point, Arjuna is getting it. Are we getting it? Arjuna is getting it. So, and he's reveling in it. So he says, then Arjuna said, number 12, you are the supreme Brahman, the absolute one, the supreme abode, and the supreme purifier. You are the eternal and divine Purusha, the absolute self or consciousness. You are beginningless, and your presence is everywhere. All the most exalted sages and seers have thus acclaimed you, including Narada, sage of the Devas, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa. And now you have revealed this to me. O Krishna, now I know that everything you have said to me is absolutely so. Neither the most powerful demons nor even the Devas themselves, my Lord, fully grasp the truth of you. You and only you know who and what you are, O Purushottama, Master of the universe, Source and Lord of all. Won't you please now, and without reserve, speak of your divine manifestations, it's Vibhuti, in which you abide and through which you pervade all that is. O great Master of Yoga, how should I meditate to realize you? I cannot seem to hear enough. Your words are the nectar of my life. The Blessed Lord replied, all right, Arjuna, I will now tell you of my divine manifestations, but only the most evident, because really there is no end to them. And so he begins once again. He begins once again. This time in order to please Arjuna. Because Arjuna is now in this state where he's getting it. And he says, not just getting it, but he gets it. I understand. You are the absolute. You are the beginning and the ending and the in-between. You are here in everything and everyone. And all of this is within you. So I get it. And by the way, I am enjoying this so much, this darshan of yours. Please continue. Please tell me of your divine glories. Tell me more. Tell me more. I don't want to stop hearing. So, And so with that, Lord says, okay, I will do as you wish, and I'll speak, but only of the most evident. And this is, of all of this is a key phrase, only of the most evident. In other words, where you can most easily see me. Oh. So for us as sadhakas who don't see what Arjuna is seeing yet, who don't see the Lord as being the one and only truth here yet, then this is the most evident that's being described. Okay. So he starts. He says, I am the true self, capital S self, in the heart of all creatures. Arjuna, I am their beginning, their middle, and also their end. So the true self, meaning, how do you relate?
Wouldn't that be just about the most subtle?
Actually, it's the most obvious, Gopala, but because of the looking out and the confusion between the I and the object that's being seen, then it gets veiled. But it's actually the I is the only self-evident reality. It's evident to yourself because everything's about you. Everything's centered in you. You are the center of the universe. Everything's about you. Not just saying from the selfish standpoint, saying, who is it that's seeing? Who is it that's experiencing? All you can actually speak to is I. Because everything's about I. I is clearly at the center of the experience. Is it so? Without I, what is an experience? Huh? Without I, what is an experience? Who to experience it? If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound? Who knows? If I am not there to experience it, then as far as I'm concerned, there's no experience. Is it so? So does it make sense? It's self-evident.
Could you put in instead of I, awareness?
Well, that makes it an object. But he's saying the self, capital S, self. And what is the self but I? I am awareness. I am awareness. But awareness, when I say that, I'm treating awareness as an object apart from me. And I'm equivocating myself with it. So, I am the self of all.
So
it's a very simple statement. I am your own self, Gopala.
Oh, I just was going to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I just sometimes I'll see something like recognize the context of awareness. So that must be talking to the intellect, or bringing the intellect back to the I.
Where is the I right now? Where is the I?
It's beyond the intellect.
No. Where is the I relative to you right now?
There is no relative.
So here, correct? Here. Okay. And what's happening with the I right now? Nothing. But the I is experiencing, apparently so, right? Thoughts? Yeah? Okay. Oh. So, starting there, saying, I am the true self in the heart of all creatures. Arjuna, I am their beginning, their middle, and also their end. I am Vishnu, the all-encompassing light of the 12 gods of light, the Adityas. Of the all radiant lights, I am the effulgent sun. I am also Marichi, lord of the wind and storm powers. And we'll pick up here. It's a lovely commentary from Swami Venkatesh. These last two sutras. Okay. The Blessed Lord said, "Very well, now I will declare to thee my divine glories in their prominence, O Arjuna. There is no end to their detailed description." So I can go on forever and ever. No end. "I am the Self, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all beings. I am the beginning, the middle, and also the end of all beings." So what do you hear from that? Tell me, please. What's he saying? You can say it in other words.
That we are him. He.
What are you hearing? Who am I?
He.
You are I and I are you. This I that's casting about for fame and name and recognition and money and power or to get away, or this I that I don't understand. So what do you hear with that? I am the Self, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all beings. I am the beginning, the middle, and also the end of all beings. You can just say it very simply. What do you hear with that?
He's the king.
Sorry?
The king, like seated in the heart, he's overseeing, ruling, and also transcending. There's like multiple layers of aspects.
Oh.
I am the all in all.
I am the all in all. I am the all in all. But where he's starting, and he continues for some time. So I think we'll have a few days of him speaking once again to this. But where he's starting is, who am I, Krishna, related to you, Jagannatha?
Is that a question?
Yes?
It's the same, no?
I am your very self. I am your very self. In the heart of your heart. And it also speaks to where you find me. So he was saying only that which is most evident. And every one of us, we never get away from I. We get away from our stuff, thank God, during deep sleep and in meditation, and as we more and more relieve ourselves of ourself, little s. But that's an object, isn't it? That's desires, ways of relating to, processes, thoughts, yeah? What I consider to be myself is all objects. So he starts here. So we say that which is most self-evident. That's where he starts. So here's commentary from Swami. He says, here is a very interesting prologue to a startling approach to the Supreme Being. A warning that we should accept the symbol but not confine the reality to it. God is exclusive or exclusion of anything else. If the caution administered in these two verses is borne in mind, almost anything will lead us to God, for in effect, the whole universe is the manifestation of a part of his infinite glory and power. Again, we can only take a few manifestations. We cannot encompass even these in their entirety with our limited mind. Try to think of space in its entirety, and the mind reels and staggers. So, do you see the image? I see from the third and fourth episode of Fabric of the Cosmos, Remember the image of they looked like smoke rings, expanding, contracting, shifting shapes.
All the strings.
The strings, yeah, the strings. So, and do we remember the dialogue and discussion around that they're appearing, disappearing, colliding with each other, all of this, and that this is the underlying even space, present even in space, right? So, and so this, and chapter 11, we get even more of this. Try to think of space in its entirety. The mind reels and staggers. But any form will do. For God is the self in the hearts of all beings. He is the reality in all appearances. He is the truth represented by the symbol. He is the nomenon in all phenomena. He is the formless Brahman in all forms. He is that in this. Everything in the universe is filled with the same energy, with the same intelligence. And here we can see it the way the scientists visualize it, right? That same energy, the same intelligence is one energy, one intelligence. The same consciousness. Thus, the objects we use in our life, the actions that we do with our body, the persons to whom our actions are directed, are nothing but the manifestations of God. So they're not something else. This is a remarkable truth, which, until it becomes a realization, is a remarkable attitude.
That's a nice one.
It is, right?
That sounds like a good sadhana slogan.
It is. It is.
Yeah, slogan.
It is. Can I adopt the attitude is an interesting question. Can I adopt this divine attitude?
Really big.
Can I really put into practice in my life seeing and being in the presence of the one divine everywhere, in everything, in every experience? So, and he says it becomes a realization, but only to the one who adopts it as an attitude.
With effort, and then it becomes...
Yeah, there are no accidents here. So, with effort, has to be. Has to be. Because the habitual way of seeing and relating to is a fallacy. Each of us will have our own, so it's our own individual fallacy. Right? And so to change it requires effort. Whose effort? God's.
Next effort.
So that means through God's grace, anything is possible. Actually, there again, all you have to do is the same thing that you have to do to lift your hand from your leg. It's all you have to do.
It's all about intention.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have to be firm with it. And keep reminding, as it were, and stay with it. Everything that's done here is done in the same way. And it's the same power doing it. Oh.
It kind of implodes personal little self.
It does. Constant vigilance is necessary in order not to lose sight of the goal. We have our feet planted firmly on the ground and let our heart and mind fly aloft in the realms of the infinite. We grasp the form and let the indwelling presence envelop our heart and our consciousness. Okay, so we'll continue. Among the 12 Aditya, Adi is light. Cha is light. Adi is primal. So First light. I am Vishnu. Among the luminaries, the radiant sun. I am Marichi among the wind gods, among the stars, the moon am I. So the moon is the closest of the heavenly objects, as it were. Among the Vedas, I am the Samaveda. I am Vasava among the gods. Among the senses, I am the mind. So from here, I don't speak well to each of these, but we'll catch some of them as he goes. So among the senses, I am the mind.
Yes.
So do we see that the mind is the boss of the senses? And not just the boss, it's really the sense. That all of the other senses are working for the mind. And really the senses are existing or residing in the mind. So among the senses, I am the mind. I am intelligence among living beings. So there's a way to relate. Yes? And each of these that we have some familiarity with in some way of relating to are also practices for us. They're giving opportunities for practices. Right? We keep coming back to what are we doing? What is sadhana? The way to God is through constant practice of His presence every moment of your life, along with deep meditation. So it's a practice of the awareness of God. So what's he saying? I am the sun. I am among all of the lights. I am the sun. I am the brightest. I am the wind. Among the stars, the heavenly bodies, the moon, the brightest. Among the Vedas, Samaveda. Vasava among the gods. Vasava is God of the heart. Among the senses, I am the mind. And I am intelligence among living beings. And among the Rudra, I am Shankara. So the Shankara is the clearer of the veil. So we get in the tradition the triumvirate when we reflect on the divine. It's in the Western tradition as well. God, God, generator, observer, destroyer. So the triumvirate in terms of this. So here it's Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Shiva is said to be the destroyer, but really what we learn is that Shiva is the destroyer of ignorance. And so the one who has the relationship with Shiva is praying for the destruction of the unreal. And the destruction of the unreal occurs within one's being. Right? So among the Rudras, I am Shankara, Shiva Shankara. Among the Yaksa and Rakshasa, Kubera. Among the Vasu, I am fire. Among the mountains, I am Meru. Meru, mythical, although Meru is here. But it's said to be the primal mountain. Swamiji adds some commentary that can be helpful. He says, all these names of gods deserve deep study and research. We do not recognize the existence of many gods. We are not polytheists. We are not even pantheists, believing in one deity somehow enveloping all. Indeed, we're not even monotheists, believing in one God. We are monists, believing that one alone exists, and that ultimately even the distinction between God, world, and man ought to be resolved into the transcendental self-realization of non-duality. All the names of gods and deities, divine and demoniacal beings mentioned in the scriptures and alluded to here have a meaning and are not mere proper names. The 12 Aditya have been identified with the 12 signs of the zodiac. The 12 suns are worth identifying in the heavens, of whom the most powerful is Vishnu, whose light envelops all, And he says that is the literal meaning of the word. Of all the luminaries, I am the sun, which is the most luminous. In all these, it will be noticed that we are asked to regard the best of the manifestations of God. This does not mean that only the best is his manifestation. At the present stage, it is easier for the mind to accept it to be so, and eventually its vision will expand in concentric circles to include all else into it. For among the senses, I am the mind. Thus, the mind's own undefiled substratum with unlimited potentialities is God himself. He is the intelligence among living beings. When this knower of all is understood and realized, all objects will be perceived as divine, one with the subject. And we'll pick up and continue from here in the morning.
Are the 12 sons like the 12 apostles?
Sorry?
Are the 12 sons like the 12 apostles?
Like the 12.
Apostles, yes.
Apostles, sorry. I haven't heard that relationship.
Just kind of, that clicked in for me.
The 12 is a number that keeps coming through. But you could relate in the same way. You could take the theme of what he's laying out. Who is the primary apostle? Who is the primary apostle? Who is the most loyal, the most devout, the most devoted? Peter. So then you could say, among the apostles, I am Peter. We'll get to the point where he says, among the gamblers, I am the top gambler, the best gambler. The theme that's being laid out is, I'm everything, but how do you relate to me? How will this mind relate to me? How will this mind relate to me? When we talk about God, think about God, immediately we're going to want to relate to good or great. This is in the mind. Highest, good, great, like this. And so he's playing along with it. He's saying, okay, I am the highest. And everyone else too. So it's not a generic, I am all, even though I am all. He's trying to give us some food to work with in this mind. So how can you find the ability to relate? Among the musicians, I am Mozart. So go to that which is perfect. And there it's a little easier for the mind to relate to a divine, to a highest. Right? So it continues in the theme. We can walk around saying all are one. But how to make it practical? How to make it really a practical lived reality? How to experience the loss of self and the gaining of self? How to actually live it? How to have it as our lived reality?
To be the highest you can be.
So sadhana has to be the answer. And what is the sadhana? What is the sadhana being practiced? This is all meditation practice. So ultimately, I start by serving you. I don't know who you are, but I know if I serve myself, that I'm lost. So I start by serving you because I can relate to you.
Yes.
So Swami Shivananda would say our first service should be to the sick and to the poor.
Easily.
And then we should do it from compassion, the first service. And that's an other, correct?
Yes.
And what happens is purification happens. I'm less wrapped up in myself. My mind, the intellect specifically, begins to open up more and more. Okay.
Yes.
And as it begins to open up more and more, we find that we develop the ability to relate to something higher than us. We start to come out of ourselves. We start to come out of our own limited world. But what is karma yoga really? Karma yoga really is a meditation practice. It's about serving the one in all. irrespective of what that person did or said, irrespective of whether they deserve it or don't deserve it, but serving the one, not serving the person, serving the one.
So I have to remember this when Raid calls me, my boss.
Yeah. Form of God.
Yeah. I've been trying to think of ways to relate also, like with that, it's very practical because when I go into the office there, the astral environment is, sometimes I get swirled into it. It's not ashram.
Yes.
And that clicked for me, see the intelligence, because they're at their computer, they're doing very,
Right.
intelligent,
There you go.
centered work. So
So that's something you can work
came
with.
to use that as a practice to try and uplift the space, but also to see deeper than their personality, because that can often be the thing that just comes to the lower mind, just looking at what they're doing, or he's popping a beer at his desk and he doesn't talk or something like that. There's everything here when you get there's like,
Yeah. And who is the beer?
right.
But again,
Yeah.
practically speaking, to get this mind to see what's here, this is the issue, is it's living in an imaginary world. It creates all of these ideas through name and form and the relationships and the stories and all of these impressions and all of these tendencies. And so it's veiling and tossing, and we're not seeing what's here. And what we're working with is to get the mind to see what's here to the extent it's possible. And then God does the rest. So like this, and that's, to my devotee, I give buddhi yoga. So to my devotee, I give the firm understanding, the firm comprehension that I am everything here, that I am everywhere here. So we do our best, and so here giving some grist to the mill. And it is easier, more practically speaking, to see the intelligence as universal and divine than the beer. He'll get there. And you'll get there. You'll get there. Yeah. In the same way that physicists some of them have come to see that substratum, which they visualize in some way, maybe as these strings popping into and popping out of existence. But some have come to see that substratum instead of a cup or a tea or a person, you see. In the same way, what is our practice? To see what's really here, which is even beyond the strings. But that's getting close. That's getting close because the strings are representing absolute potentiality. So that's very, very close to the ultimate. And certainly the description of the ultimate is this: absolute potentiality. Home. So seeing more deeply, seeing what's here instead of seeing what we imagine to be here. So it's giving us some grist like that. Anything else? Final prayers, we'll break.
So when you were the best businessman, he was the best of the business.
Yeah, he was everything.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
He was
about
the
that
worst
with my
customer,
boss, too, 'cause he's a
There's just so much to laugh about from here.
Huh?
I said there's just so much to laugh about from here.
Yeah, there's so much potential here. That's really nice.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm picturing Swami businessman.
No, it's in the mind is you did it all.
Yeah. That's it.
And what is that? That's conscious mind talking to the light.
Yeah.
Conscious mind talking to the light. There's no duality. There's only one. Conscious mind realizes the light, you did it all! This consciousness, it's you. Okay, it's me too. But I don't exist without you. I can't say the other way. As conscious mind, I can't. Even though I certainly had the feeling of being the center of the universe as an individual. And I have no doubt that I wished all to prostrate before me. One way or another.
They did in certain ways.
Oh, dear Lord, I am thine, all is thine.
All the parts you played.
I am thine, all thine. Yeah, all the parts. Jai Ma, Jai Jai. Okay, we'll close. Final prayers and arati. It's a wonder.
Yes. Blessed to be here.
It speaks to the divine presence, but really the divine power. How is it that a thought, just a thought, can take itself to be whatever?
Solid. Yeah.
Solid. Yeah, or this or that. One day in our class, Swami Premananda spoke this. He said, the same thing that's going on in you is going on within everyone. He said, you're thinking that you're this person. And the tree is thinking, I'm a tree. And the blade of grass is thinking, I'm a blade of grass. And it's this power, this divine power of imagination, which is the manifesting power.
Oh.
Yeah. So, because everything is the same stuff. Everything is the same stuff. It's actually the stuff, it's not the thing. And so that speaks to the nature of the stuff. It's amazing stuff.
It can be this or that.
Oh. Okay, 174. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Surandim Pushtivardhanam Orvai Rukneva Bandhana Mritor Mukshya Mamritat Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Surandim Pushtivardhanam Orvai Rukneva Bandhana Mritor Mukshya Mamritat Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Surandim Pushtivardhanam Orvai Rukneva Bandhanan Mritor Mukshya Mamritat Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Shantu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Makashit Dukhabhave Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mritor Mahamritam Gamaya Om Purnamida Purnamidam Purnamudasate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva vasishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O adorable Lord, mercy and love, salutations and prostrations unto thee. Thou art omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. Thou art Satchidananda. Thou art existence, knowledge, and bliss absolute. Thou art the indweller of all beings. Grant us an understanding heart, equal vision, balanced mind, faith, devotion, and wisdom. Grant us inner spiritual strength to resist temptation and to control the mind. Free us from egoism, lust, anger, greed, hatred, and jealousy. Fill our hearts with divine virtues. Let us behold thee in all these names and forms. Let us serve thee in all these names and forms. Let us ever remember thee. Let us ever sing thy glories. Let thy name be ever on our lips. Let us abide in thee forever and ever. And below Sakura Shivananda Maharaj Ki, and for all of the saints and sages of all the traditions. Jai!